All right, pink. So how you been feeling?
I've been good, swell, no complaints. Feel like I'm in a better place now than I've been in the past, like maybe month or so.
Yeah. Where were you?
Mentally, I was in a place where I feel I was kind of stuck, or not necessarily stuck, but in a transition where everybody's kind of doing their own thing, and you don't really see a lot of your friends as often. So, in like seasonal affective disorder, it's getting darker out sooner. So, it could be a combination of all that. So, that's what I've been adjusting to. What about you?
No, wait, I want to piggyback off that. So, you know how I'm like a crackhead, and it's like I live for like daylight savings, and I love daylight savings.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's like I feel like everyone needs like a reset. You know what I mean?
So it's like a reset to a new kind of time.
Yeah. So it's like the immediate like one day gets dark at 6, the other day it's 5. Like
Yeah.
I think I love that. But it's like, so the reason why people love summer more is because they're chemically balanced. Like I get seasonal depression in the summer. I don't like the heat. So it's like what I'll do is like I'll stay inside till like nighttime. But so your body's a bunch of hormones, and I saw this on Andrew Herbosi. So I'll get his name later, but he says that the reason why people love winter, the reason why people love summer is because they're chemically balanced. So when they wake up and they love winter, they go outside and like they get the sunlight in their eyes and like stuff like that. Same thing in the summer. So they get chemically balanced in the summer with that, and then they just enjoy it. So if you can like force yourself to enjoy it, he says that like chemically you won't be like as depressed anymore.
Like because essentially you're just forcing yourself to adjust to whatever.
Yeah, so it's like when you're like depressed and like everyone like gets this way, it's like they're in a slump, but it's like the only person that can pull you out of the slump is yourself. Mm-hmm. So that's why in the summer, they don't realize it, but they're pulling themselves out of that slump. Because it's like, oh, warm weather, let me go do stuff. And it's like winter, it's like, oh, it's cold, I can't do anything. Like the reason why people don't like it being cold is because they think it shouldn't be cold. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So they think that the correct thing is like warm weather. But if they just like treat it the same way they treat summer, like they won't get seasonal depression.
That's an interesting
Isn't that crazy?
thought. That is an interesting thought though.
It's nuts.
And you've had this for how long? Like when you would feel it? Yeah, in the winter.
Forever. I've never gotten seasonal depression in the winter. Always in the summer, because I hate the hot. Like, I take cold showers, I do like...
Yeah, you do wild stuff.
Yeah, and it's because the same guy, he said that the reason why people who enjoy the winter don't get the seasonal depression is because they enjoy the discomfort. So their baseline for happiness is a lot higher. So it's like, if little things happen, even if it doesn't reach this bar, like that's okay. But if your baseline is super low, then it's like if this little thing happens, yeah, it makes you super happy. But then if you go up to here, then the crash is the depression, like not feeling happy and like stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Because your baseline's super low. So yeah, you'll get your dopamine faster through like TikTok, social media, like whatever, quick things. Mm-hmm. But because it's so low, when you crash, you need to like maintain it up here. Mm-hmm. But if your baseline for happiness is super, super high, and if it barely reaches it, you'll always be like happy because you're never gonna be like over your bar as much.
Because your expectations are low.
Yeah.
So therefore you'll always surpass it because of how low it is.
Yeah. Also, there's like a bunch of like scientific like words and like names for this, but it's like you need to listen to him. Like he did this thing where it's like the perfect way to like start your morning is literally to get out of bed and like reduce dopamine, like don't check your phone and stuff like that for at least an hour, because if you get dopamine right away, then like your body's gonna be craving it the whole day. But if you like raise your standards for happiness, I don't think happiness is a word. I think it's he says raise your baseline for like dopamine or something.
Serotonin, you talking about?
I don't know, something. But he wants you to limit it as much as possible, so that like it's harder to reach the peak. So that way you never have the crash.
Oh, because of the expectation.
Yeah.
So you keep your expectations low with like your dopamine and serotonin. As far as that in itself, have low expectations for it. That way, when you do have it and it's presented, you'll feel much happier.
Yeah, I think it's to limit the spikes.
Okay.
Cause I don't think like I'm not trying to like bash TikTok or anything, but it's like social media. I don't think the human brain is supposed to like laugh, 2 seconds later cry. Oh, this is interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like because like you're going like this.
Mm-hmm.
So if you like stay uncomfortable and like you're up here, then like your spike would be like here, and then down. Like if this is the happiest you could be, right? And this is the most depressed you could be, right? When people get their, oh, I'm laughing at TikTok, ha 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 ha, crash, blah blah blah, oh, cute baby, oh, entertaining video, crash. But if you are like uncomfortable all the time, so then instead of this being your baseline, this is your baseline. So when you crash, it goes from like here to like here. You know what I mean? Because you're so used to being uncomfortable and like you know how to handle stress due to like cold exposure, liking the cold, things that people usually don't like. That's like, if you can like raise your baseline, apparently you won't get those crashes, you don't get those mood swings as much, which is weird. But he said it a lot smarter than I did. I would love to meet him. Andrew Huberman is his name, but it's like, he's crazy. But to answer your question, it's like, I do get my crashes and I do get my lows, but it's mainly because like I'm like in my head. So it's like, I don't want to say it's like I can deal with depression better than most people, but it's like I have a weird understanding of who I am, and it's almost like I'm 2 different people. It's gonna sound crazy, but it's like there's my spiritual and like mental self, and then there's like my human self. Like my human self is like feeling like down, depressed, and like unmotivated. Like you need to like separate yourself, and then like your mental self be like, okay, like what do you need to do to get yourself out of it? That's why it's like when I'm like down and like depressed or whatever, it'll last for like a day or 2. Because like then I'm like, okay, like I need to get myself out of this because like the sun's gonna keep on rising the next day. Like I'm literally just wasting my time, which I'm not gonna get back, and I'm gonna spend it being sad. Like I can't do that. So and plus like I have people like relying on me, like my nephew, and like I have like a circle of people that's like I can't let down. So it's like if I can pull myself out, and I honestly found that the best way to do that is through make myself uncomfortable. Because like let's say I'm saying cold because it's my best thing. When you're in the cold and you're freezing, what's the one thing you think about?
Warmth, comfort.
And you're not thinking about, oh, bills. You're not thinking about, oh, this. So it's like just being able to be quiet in my mind for like those 2 minutes a day, maybe even longer if I need it. Same thing with the sauna. Like the only thing you're thinking about in the sauna is to like get out of the sauna. So that's what it's like.
Oh, the sauna room. I'll be struggling in the sauna
I
room.
love the sauna.
I like it to a certain extent, but it's a mental battle. And I gotta say, I've seen some videos like UFC fighters getting in like the sauna room to make weight, and they're literally like, some of their like teammates or like their colleagues like holds the door down, making sure they don't get out, like just so they can make weight. And that's love, but like that's torture at the same time.
Have you ever heard of a lock?
Oh no, yeah, but like that's
they're gonna kick it through. Yeah. That's crazy. But yeah, but what are some things that you've done to like get yourself? Let's ask it this way. What is something that you would tell a 13 to like 18-year-old in high school struggling with depression? What would you tell them the first thing to do to get out, or like the first step they need to take to get out?
So it is very, very tough to not necessarily have a straight-on answer for it, but I will say it depends on many circumstances. But as far as for a 13 to 18-year-old, whatever you can control is something that you need to change. So if, let's say, like, be aware of your feelings and be aware of, like, your surroundings as a person. So I would say, how would I put it to words? So I'm feeling overwhelmed. Acknowledge that you're feeling overwhelmed, and then say to yourself, how can I overcome this overwhelming feeling? What can I do to do it? Like, for example, I'll acknowledge how you feel, express it, and not only that, find things that you enjoy and stick to it. If something makes you unhappy, address it. like say to yourself, why am I unhappy? Is this something that I can change to be happy? And if you can't, then you leave it behind and then you look to the next problem. But you don't want to overwhelm yourself with all the problems that you have. Take one problem each step at a time. And since you're 13 and 18 years old, you're still young. There's a lot of time. If you feel like that person that you're going to be in love with is the love of your life, may not always be the case. It could be someone later on in life. Like some people don't find love till they're 40, 50. And it's a while. But like, it's better to figure
But it's on your
yourself
time.
out. Yeah.
You know, like, you shouldn't be following other people's clocks.
Exactly.
Now, would you recommend, like, writing it down?
Writing it down, and then like what a lot of people, I like to burn it, throw it in a fire. Sometimes that helps because like you're just seeing like what problems and issues you have on the paper get destroyed, and it's kind of therapeutic. So, but I wouldn't say like they say actually psychologists say that it's not good to break glass and stuff like that. You know how like they have those classes or like those places where you could rent out a room for an hour.
Oh, rage rooms.
Yes, and you throw. They say technically it's not good because you're enabling like aggressive behavior, but at the same time, I understand because you're like that's like you hear the sound of broken glass, you're like, oh, like it's weird. It's a weird feeling from what I've heard from many people, but yeah,
that's crazy. Now, I think honestly, you know that thing I told you about how the gratitude, like, changed everything to perspective.
Yes.
Like something like honestly, I don't think I'd be where I am today if it wasn't for like Gary Vee, that guy who wrote that book. 12 and a half, great book. If you guys ever want to, you know, get to like know yourself a little bit better, 100% great read. But he like one of the steps is like gratitude and to like put everything into like perspective. Like, okay, hypothetically speaking, I'm that 15-year-old kid struggling, and it's like I'm struggling about like, oh, I failed a test. Oh, this person's talking smack about me, or like this. But it's like, why are you thinking that your whole family could have got hit by a bus? Like they all could have died. And it's like you have your arms, you have your legs, you know, you're able to be in a school. There's so much other things to life than like, I don't want to belittle people's problems, but it's like, if you put them on the grand scheme of things, there's like, what, 7 billion people in the world? As long as you're not like at the bottom, getting stabbed in the bottom of like a Grand Canyon and like, you know, you watch your entire family get murdered, whatever, then that person can like say that they're having a bad day. No, but it's like, how big is your problem now of this person not liking you? Or like, oh, you got an 85 instead of like a 90. You know what I mean? It's like,
it's pressure. That's what I essentially think it is. Like you even said for yourself, you just said in the video, you were like, you know, I have people that rely on me that like not only just confide in me, but like they look to me like when they're in need, and that's a lot of pressure you're putting on yourself, believe it or not.
No, that's true.
Because you put the words that you're distinguishing out is just you putting all that pressure on you, so you feel like the bar is set high for you, and you got to jump with all your might to get to it.
Yeah, but there's some. I don't know if I've heard this before, but I definitely said this to one of my friends. I forgot who it was. It's like, you can't make a diamond without any pressure. And then that's most of the word in depression. Pressure. Like, I feel like whenever you're like have a huge battle, that just, it's something that's molding you into your own little diamond. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, sometimes I feel like people just think about that process that way. Like, oh, I'm struggling right now. Instead of saying, oh, why is this happening to me? Like, what is this preparing me for? You know what I mean?
That's a good way to look at it. That kind of switches the mindset.
Yeah, it's all, like, what people don't realize, like, their words have a lot more power than, like, they know. Like, for example, like, people say, oh, I want to lose weight. Okay? Like, that's not a goal. Okay, yeah, you want to lose weight. I want to lose 10 pounds. Now you have an actual number. And I want to lose it by 6 months from now. How am I going to do that? Okay, I need to go to the gym 3 times a week, 4 times a week, whatever. Okay, so now instead of it being, oh, I got to lose 10 pounds, I got to do it like right now. It's more like, oh, I just have to make sure I get to the gym today. You know, so it's like stuff like that. It's like, if people are like depressed because like their weight, like stuff that they can fix, if you just get like your giant goal and kind of like branch it down to tiny, like little tasks. Like the same thing. This is James Clear in Atomic Habits. He said that instead of saying, oh, I need to go to the gym, work out twice, like for 2 hours, like 5 times a week. Make it be like, I need to step foot into the gym. Mm-hmm. Not work out, but like, if you step foot into the gym, you're gonna want to work out because you're already there. Mm-hmm. So instead of making the whole workout the thing, mentally that's gonna be hard. But how easy is it for you to step into the gym and work out?
Yeah.
So like that goal is a lot more maintainable. So even if you don't work out for the 2 hours and you work out for like 1 hour, you still did more than like getting yourself paranoid and like not going to the gym to like work out for your 2 hours. And like the goal is super, super high. So then if you don't hit the goal, then you can be really hard on yourself. Mm-hmm. So it's like getting the tiny, more manageable goals is a lot better.
Like, for example, instead of saying, oh, I want to go to the gym and run 3 miles, instead just be like, oh, I just need to get to the gym.
Yeah. To the gym. Yeah, I want to get my shoes on, my running shoes on, and walk to the gym. You know? Like, how much easier is that?
It's easier. It, like, puts it kind of not simplify it. Makes it, like, a brief.
Manageable.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you can manage that. Not bad.
I'm agree with you on that.
Now, let's bring it up. Instead of 13 to 18, let's do us, like 20 to like 40.
20 to 40.
Because you're 40. I'm 20.
This guy.
Doesn't he look good for 40? No, but seriously.
So my advice to, like, same thing. We have a lot of time on our hands. We feel, when it comes to leaving high school and like finishing out college, there's a lot of not only pressure, but I feel like there's a rush to get everything done quickly so that way.
So dumb.
And you can't necessarily put yourself on a clock like that because you have your own time, you have your own stuff. And I think it's just because high school was so fast with how it went that we kind of just have it flow into college and into our adult years.
Yeah.
Like that. But I would say take your time. Start your retirement early. Start putting money away. Like when you're 18, once you're able to, like put not a lot, like just put like maybe $20. $20 from your check, literally. Go right into retirement. And then next thing you know, once you're like, what is it, like 50, 65, if you want to retire, you probably have a good money. You probably get up to like $1 million. I'm not kidding.
Yeah. No, especially if you put into like the right index fund. Mm-hmm. But you know what I realized? A lot of the reasons why people are like depressed, because like we've said like 4 times, it's because of unnecessary standards that they're setting for themselves.
I think it's desire too.
Desire for what?
Like just, cause like social media, like we said, it gives out a whole bunch of lies. Not a lot of like everything's lies, but like expectation, like everyone's doing this and that. They're showing the happy side, but they're not showing the side that it takes to work hard for whatever it is. You know, everyone only shows the happy thoughts.
Yeah.
On Instagram, Snapchat, but they don't show the bad side, and that's normal because why would you want anyone to see it? So that's what we feel, and that's what we're programmed to think. Like we have to be happy all the time, and we don't allow ourselves to feel whatever emotions we want to feel.
You know what I also think? I think whatchamacallit, I don't think people understand that growth is exponential instead of linear. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, let's take my hair, for example. Mm-hmm. So I have quite long hair. It took me...
Jesus, that's a lot of hair.
Yeah, it's a lot of hair. It took me... I've been growing it out since March 13th, 2020, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like all this. Consider my hair depression, right? If I shave my head right now, my long hair is happiness, right? Let's consider my long hair happiness. And then, you know, clear bald head is depression. I want to be happy again, right? Does that mean my hair is going to grow back to this length the next day? No. What's going to happen? It's going to grow little. And then eventually, over time, I'm going to, you know, be happy again. I'm going to have my long hair. But it's like, it's not going to happen if I shave my head again. Mm-hmm. It's not going to happen if you, like, fall back into your old habits. It's not going to happen to, like, you know, like, for example, if you let one thing go to, like, the gym. If you let one mistake of not going, okay, I'm not going to go today, I'm not going to go tomorrow, I'm not going to go the next day, whatever. You're pushing out your goal a lot farther. Same thing with this. Like, oh, if I shave my head because I'm getting impatient and I want to look good, then it's like I'm back at square one. And then you're starting all over again. So I don't think people realize that's like the little tiny steps add up to like your total goal. that think if they understand that it's like it's not gonna happen overnight and it's not gonna happen in a straight line. You're gonna have ups and downs the whole time. I think then they'll be able to understand it's like it's not me. You know, your unrealistic expectation of your goal and when you want it is totally not you. Like I forgot who it was. Like Tony Robinson, he said people overestimate what you could do in a year and underestimate what you can do in a decade. Like giving yourself more time is like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, let's say, okay, I gotta do 10,000 push-ups. My goal is to do 10,000 push-ups. If I say I'm gonna do 10,000 push-ups in like a year, that's a lot harder to do than 10,000 push-ups.
No, of course.
In a decade. You know what I mean? So that's like, if you give yourself more manageable timelines, I think that's the cure for what people really want. Now, what's something you've been struggling with?
I've been struggling with kind of trying to...
Besides the whole timeline of not being able to see your friends.
I'll say... I've been adjusting to, finding, like, where I stand as far as for society. Like, my job career, what I want to do. I definitely want to be a psychologist, but I feel like...
Don't you have your degree?
I have a bachelor's degree in psychology. I don't have a master's or PhD yet, but I think I would only want to do it part-time. And then, No, but, like, I ideally went into school with the intention that I'm going to do that full-time. And, like, I look back now and I said, I can't do it full-time. Like, I could help a lot of people out with whatever issues they have, give them the best advice, walk them through whatever it is they, take things in steps, but I don't know. I want to have, like, multiple different jobs. That way I'm not doing the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird to me. That's kind of, like, where I want to flow with life.
I also think it's, like, first of all, that's completely fine. Like, anything you want to do is 100% fine. I think what happens is, like retirement. Like, personally, I would never want to retire, like, ever. Why do I have to go from working 5, 6, 7 days a week to working 0? Why can't I just...
Well, that's the thing, though. The goal is to make enough money...
To do whatever the hell you want.
To do whatever you want whenever you retire.
Yeah.
Now, let's say there's been people that have retired, but they have a lot of debt and they can't even enjoy the retirement. Because the retirement money that they have is what's taking care of the bills.
Yeah. 100%.
So that's why I say it's important to save money early as you can. Like, even if you're 16 and you're like, do I really want to start retiring? Like, believe me, like, you'll thank yourself later on.
Yeah, it's the whole delayed gratification thing.
But all the 13, 18-year-olds, even myself, I can't even deny it. We're too stubborn to be like, oh, why am I going to listen to this guy? Like, like, he doesn't know what I'm going through and stuff. I'm like, you might be right, but if you do that and then you listen to me and then later on you're retired and you're doing good with all that money, like, you don't got to thank me. I just thank me by enjoying the rest of your life, doing everything that you want.
Yeah. There's something I wanted to say. I forgot what it was.
Retirement?
Yeah, something to do with retirement. Oh, it's like the whole thing goes back to understanding who you really are. Like, if you, like, there's millionaires that literally can't retire because their lifestyle costs $1 million a year. So it's like, if I'm making, hypothetically speaking, 100K a year, but my lifestyle is $20,000 a year. Something super simple, minimalistic. I am making more money a year than the $1 million person.
Of course.
Like, I'm making
the lifestyle.
I'm making $80,000, and this millionaire is making $1 million a year, but he's literally wasting $1 million, and he got nothing. So it's like, I feel like if people understand, it's like, what do I really need? What is it that I can be happy working around? You realize that, like, the whole $1 million thing is, like, stupid. And also, it's like, so the way like social media makes everything, everyone's like, oh, I need to make $1 million to make it. If you want to be the 1% of American earners, you have to make over 400,000. Like, that's so much more manageable than $1 million. But it's like, people don't understand that it's like, there's different things in life that, like, are not just, like, social norms. But yeah, it's interesting.
That is pretty cool.
Right? Isn't like, okay, $600,000 left, like, $400,000 is a lot more manageable. Like, even making $200K a year.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to make $1 million. Like,
you just got to be smart with your money.
Yeah.
Literally it. You got to know where to put it, when to put it. And then every once in a while, I do agree, you should enjoy what you do, you know?
Yeah.
Like, have a little moment in your life where you're like, you know what, let me go on a little splurge. Be responsible, but splurge a little bit.
Yeah.
reward yourself. It's your money that you're earning and working hard for. Get a treat. You know?
No, 100%. But yeah, is there anything else you like came in here wanting to say or like talk about or what is something that someone recently has come up to you asking for advice that you think someone else could benefit from?
I've always had a soft spot for, kids that don't have like one of their parents involved in their life. So I would say like if you have one, like I didn't have both my parents growing up. Like I did for a little bit, but not fully. And I'm glad to have an amazing mother that like I don't even care that I only had my mom, because at that
She did
time
both jobs. She did it well.
she made it out. If she could made out what she went through, then anybody, like I feel like you can definitely push through whatever it is. But just take things day by day. It's always good to be kind and nice and whatever, but I don't know. When you can, find someone that you're really close to, be friends with them, stick with them as much as you can. Have someone that you can confide in. Obviously, you don't want to tell everything to them, but I don't know. It's weird. Like, I don't know. It's tough because like I kind of grew up like at one point in my life when I was like 13, I kind of like had to grow up mentally from everything. Like
earlier than we expected.
Yeah, I feel like I'm much more mature than many people were at my age.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I displayed that I was like fun time to hang out with, goofy, whatever. But like deep inside with my decision making, I knew like I was much more mature than others. But I don't know, like traumatic things like that kind of wake you up early. So whatever you feel, express. Allow yourself to express it, because if not, you might just bottle it all up and it can lead you into making bad decisions when you get older.
Yeah, I like that. I really do. People don't realize that like you need to pull yourself out of a situation, like see it from like a third person, which is like the whole having a mental and physical self. If you can pull yourself out mentally of any situation you're in and see what's happening, like you're gonna know your friends are bums. You don't have to cut them off completely, because like obviously everyone needs a nice social group, but it's like maybe like limiting. Instead of seeing them 5 days a week, 3, 2, and then using those other days that you'd be hanging out with them, you're not going to find new friends right away, but like putting yourself in situations of things you want to become. Like for example, if you want to go to the gym, force yourself to go to the gym and force yourself to talk to one new person there every single day. Because once you like build a little community, then, I have a friend that works out. I'm eventually going to start working out more because that friend is doing what I really want, instead of hanging out with my other friends who like to drink, party, wake up at like 6 p.m. and like, the whole 9 yards. I'm not saying that's bad, but obviously anything not in moderation is going to be terrible for you in the long run. Like I do think you need those days, but I do also think you need to be able to pull yourself and realize where you're going and who you're surrounding yourself with, and try to like find the people you want to. And again, it's not going to happen overnight. But if you start now, in 1 year, instead of still wanting those friends, you're going to have them.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I wanted to say, you can obviously piggyback off it. It's, there was, I don't know the whole story, but the whole aspect was it was a super foggy day, and this horse and a boy were trying to, get from point A to point B, but they couldn't see where it was. But all they knew that they had to go north, right? And then the boy said to the horse, "Hey, I don't know where I'm going." And it's like, "I don't know where to lead you." And the horse was like, "What do you see?" "I see the ground in front of me." And he's like, "Okay, so take the next step." Because
you don't know where it'll lead you.
Yeah, not like they knew where they're going, but it's like they're so uncertain of what they're seeing, but they knew they had to go north. So as long as they're going north, like that's okay. Yeah, they're gonna run into trails, they're gonna run into other stuff, they're gonna run into obstacles, but that's all part of life. And it's like, if you just take the next step, it's 100% better of staying there frozen, waiting for the fog to leave. Because you're not always gonna have the perfect situation. You're not gonna always have the perfect scenario. You're not always gonna be motivated to do stuff. But if you just take the next step, you will eventually get there instead of waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, because you could look at it that way. You could even look at it as the weather is just one obstacle keeping you away from where you want to go.
Yeah.
That's it. It's only an obstacle. There's going to be a few on the way, but that's just one in the moment. Because you might be able to fly through it, and then there will probably be another obstacle, and you just take it one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. And also, there was that thing. It was like, you could either choose, you could make hard choices and have an easy life, or make easy choices and have a hard life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you just have to know, because you're eventually gonna have to do the hard thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just whether you do it now or you do it later.
Yeah.
You know?
However, there's some circumstances with love. Let's say, for example, that person don't want you, but you want them. You don't.
It's not meant to be. If you have to force, if you have to force, I say this all the time. If you need to force something,
Mm-hmm.
There's gonna be another scenario where you don't have to force it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's gonna come so natural, and it's like, yeah, you want that shiny red car, but you know, you want that shiny red Mustang, and you really, really want it, and like you're almost like forcing it, and like you don't get it, and then you like stop focusing on it, and then you get a freaking cherry red Ferrari 3 weeks later that someone gives you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like obviously that's a huge hypothetical, but it's like what you deserve is gonna come. Like why would you settle for like a little Prius? Why would you, not saying a Prius is a terrible car, but it's like why would you settle for something less than what you fully deserve?
No,
You know
of
what I
course.
mean?
There's like circumstances where I feel, oh, yeah, you can like go out of your way to impress them, try to get their attention, but like if someone tells you no and then you're still stuck up on them, bro, just leave.
Let it go.
Let it go. And then once they stop feeling the attention and stuff, they'll come back. But like, do you really want that? They only want you
No.
because of the attention? Not even, man.
Or when this is my favorite one. When they see you where you knew you were going, and it's like, now you want to be my life? Yeah. No, go.
No, the people that were with you in the toughest times, and they see you at the best times, that's the time where you thank them, and not only that, but like
take care of them.
Take care of them. Like not crazy, but you know, help them out the best way you can. That's the best way to go.
Yeah, and honestly, I fully believe in karma. Okay, not karma like, oh, if I give this person $1,000, I'm gonna get $10,000 back, because then you're being selfish. Karma as in like giving without condition, without expecting any reward, or without expecting any like recognition. Like that's why I understand why YouTubers do this when they like record them feeding the homeless and like stuff like that. But it's like, yes, you're trying to make your living, you're trying to promote like everyone matters. But if it's like every single time you're feeding the homeless, it's on camera, like no, like you're literally giving for clout. Like that's why like I'm not like I've done it too, but it's like I've recorded myself getting food to the homeless like 1, maybe 2 times, but like I literally do it every time a homeless person comes up to me. And it's like I'm not like trying to like get like clout or anything, but it's like it just what I do, and it's like I don't expect anything from it.
It's just your intentions. You only have good intentions.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, and I'm also not trying to build up like good karma, but it's like I thoroughly believe like if I ever need, God forbid, I'm in those shoes, like I know someone who's like me would come and help me. You know what I mean? Whether it be like a burger or something. This is obviously like huge thing. I hope to never be in this position, but it's like I know stuff's gonna come back around, whether it be now, whether it be later.
Of course.
But it's like if you do it with like saying, "Oh, like I'm gonna get this back," like no, like you're being like a douche at that point. But yeah. Is there anything else you want to say before we close it out?
No, just nothing really. Just
It's a lot of fun.
do good things. Surround yourself with positive people. Do good things. Always have good intentions. And if you feel like you're in a tough spot now, just remind yourself that it's just for the moment. You'll get yourself out, and you'll be in a happier spot. Just give it time.
Yeah. 2 things. This amazing little hoodie is for suicide awareness, to raise awareness for suicide awareness. And on the back, it says, if you are reading this, you do not have depression. Depression has you. What else does it say?
Keep fighting. This world is a lot better with you in it.
Yes.
We love you.
So now this is to raise awareness for suicide. Remember, you're important, you're beautiful, you're worth it, and you do matter. I will see you next time.